My career has been defined by saying yes to once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. By way of example, I repaired windows at the True Value hardware store, and then I made tea for the University of Chicago mathematics department, and then I went back to repairing windows, and then I made a photon detector for the Fermilab particle accelerator at the University of Chicago. It gets better. And then I painted people blue for the Lyric Opera in Chicago, which paid really well. And then I got a PhD in holography, which did not pay really well. After that, I was the chief scientist for a startup. I ran the optical systems technology program at the Monroe Community College, and I became a science writer for a marketing company, like most physicists do. So the theme of my life has been saying yes to once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. And that includes giving this TED Talk. When you stand on this red dot, you have to realize that whatever you say is going to be out there in the world for as long as there is an internet. When you stand on this red dot, you have to decide, what am I going to do with this time? And I have decided to save your life. I was asked to speak here because I have an interesting career arc. Interesting stories are not about good things happening to good people. Interesting stories are about bad things happening to flawed people. I am flawed, and bad things have happened. In 2013, my brain had a heart attack. Cortisol, the stress hormone that can cause you to drop dead from a heart attack, can also cause brain damage. My lifestyle of saying yes to once-in-a-lifetime opportunities had consequences. I present to you Rochester, New York. To most people, Rochester, New York is an economically depressed city way up in the northwest corner of New York State. I moved to Rochester from Chicago on purpose because Rochester is also a technology hub for the optics, photonics, and imaging industry. We just say optics, it's light. And by that, I mean you can think about lasers and microscopes and the screens on your cell phone. Rochester and the neighboring area still employ almost 20,000 people in the optics industry. And that is because there are over 150 optics companies of various size in the area. The Luminate Startup Accelerator, where I work, we train entrepreneurs in the optics industry from around the world to develop businesses that are self-sustaining. The Luminate Startup Accelerator could not exist anywhere other than Rochester, New York. And that is because a technology-specific accelerator needs to be in a technology-specific hub. Maintaining that and growing that technology hub requires the support of people. And underneath that weight, you can crush people. Which brings me to column B. I present my brain. In 2013, I broke it. And in 2011, the Optical System Technology program at Monroe Community College collapsed. The Monroe Community College Optical Systems Technology program is one of few programs in the world. So the loss of that created concern across the industry. I had never considered being a college professor, much less running a college program. However, I had that degree in optics that I mentioned. I worked in the optics industry, and I care about it a lot. I lived in the area, and also I had actually been an optics technician. So it was a very good fit for my background. The challenge was going to be that I was going to step into a role that had previously been held by 3 full-time faculty. It was going to be an enormous amount of strain, and I loved it. But what happened in January of 2013 is that I began to feel something going wrong in my head. My memory was having problems. I was having trouble with cognitive capability. And I had had a major depressive episode 20 years before. And I recognized some of the symptoms, struggling against this black emotional tide. And I kept working. And people said, Damon is a workaholic, as if that was a good thing. And what I realized later on is that I didn't have a work addiction. I had something more akin to work anorexia. When you have a brain that is awash in stress hormones, it begins to change the biology, to adapt to this world of constantly perceived danger. The hippocampus begins to get smaller. The amygdala becomes more dense. And the prefrontal cortex, the nerves in there begin to disconnect. The brain is a very complicated system, like the finance market. And you can make small changes over time. But once there are enough changes, the brain can snap. In August of 2013, my brain broke down. And I was supposed to fly to California to teach a course, and instead I went into a semi-catatonic state on the couch. The next day, my husband, I should have mentioned much earlier on, has been a very patient person, and he has a stable job in the public school sector. My husband, with my permission, committed me to what is known as the R Wing of the University of Rochester Medical Center, the psychiatric ward. To keep myself getting out of bed every morning, I committed to writing for 1 hour every day with radical honesty. I filled 23 journals. I recovered. And my recovery involved cognitive behavioral therapy and some creative chemistry. I'm standing on this red dot, and the target audience for a TED Talk is ambitious, creative people who are inclined to say yes to once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. I want you to live a life full of yes, but if I can say one thing on this stage, I want you to live a life full of yes that doesn't kill you. One thing that I learned from those 23 journals as I was writing was we talk about time is money. There was a time before money. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. We do not measure that in dollars. Time is the fundamental currency. Money is just the way that people put value on your time. We all live on a pension, 24 hours to a day. And the first thing you do is you pay the sleep tax with your money. We spend 1/3 of our life in a coma, dreaming. When you are awake, you then have to feed your body and water your body and wash your body. When you take those things into account, we have about 100 hours a week that we can spend on whatever we want. Your to-do list is a shopping list. If you have more than 100 hours worth of things on your to-do list, you are over budget. There is no credit card. You have to cut things. And the element that is the largest on anyone's shopping list, unless you are retired or uselessly wealthy, is your job. A job is a machine that turns your time into a fungible quantity of money. And you have a say in what that job is. You are paying to do your job. You are buying your job with your time. You need to think about, do I like what my job is doing to me? Do I like the effect of my work on other people? Do I like the effect of my job on the world? If the answer is no, You have the wrong job. Which brings me back to our red dot. A high-tech industry has so many once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. And for creative people, that gives so many opportunities. However, there's also the enormous risk of buying a job that damages you. Time is your only currency. Are you buying a life that is worth what you are paying for it? I value your time. Thank you.